Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. Today we are going to run through the importance of keywords when listing your product up to eBay, where to include keywords and why they are important to your buyer and your visibility on the site. All right. So I'm just going to dive right in here and go through a search that I actually performed a couple years ago. As a buyer on eBay, on my way into work, I hit my mirror off of my little Chevy Sonic. And so when I got into work, just like every buyer does, when searching for a part within eBay or any item within eBay, they type in exactly what they're looking for in the search bar. All right. So what your buyer is searching for in that search bar, those are the keywords that you have to have within the searchable components of your listing if you want your product to show up. All right, so just to give you a great example here, I typed this, Chevrolet 2012 Chevrolet Sonic driver side mirror in, got 484 results. Now, this is a painted part, so what are most buyers going to also include? The color. I have a white Sonic, and you'll notice that dropped it down to 4 results. So we'll back it up here. We went from 483, somebody bought one, 483 results down to 4. So that's 479 results that got weeded out. I guarantee you there are more than 4 out of 483 of these mirrors listed on eBay that are white. It's one of the most common colors for these vehicles. So what happened? What happened is very simple. The seller, when they listed their part, they didn't include the color in the title when they listed their part. We need to always be thinking like our buyers and including the keywords that they're using within our title whenever possible. Now, things to keep in mind. Good practices are to include the year, make, model, of course, and there are some loopholes to excluding those that I'll go into in just a minute here. But you'll include the year, make, model, what the part is, of course, where the part is located on the vehicle, and then factor other descriptive things that are important to buyers. So looking down here, this is a great example. This one here has heated in the title. And then I'll have you note too that it says driver and left side, which I really like that practice. I approve of including both. Reason being is that keep in mind most of your buyers are not in the industry. So a lot of times they don't know whether or not they're sitting in the vehicle, if it's on the left, or if they're looking at the vehicle and now it's on the right. So a lot of times people will type in driver side, but sometimes they won't, right? So sometimes they're going to include left side and not driver. So what do? How do you cater to both? Very simple, you include both of those keywords. Now you do want it to flow and make sense as much as possible within the title. And then another thing to keep in mind is, I was saying how there's a little bit of a loophole to including the Chevrolet's, the year, make, model in the title. I'll have you notice down here where it says the title and then in parentheses at the back end, in parentheses it says fits 2012 Chevrolet Sonic. If I click into, and I'm just going to open another tab and click into that listing, this is the actual title that this seller typed in when they listed their part. You'll notice there are no years within the title. Now wait a minute, because didn't I tell you that you have to include all of the keywords that your buyer is searching for in your title if you want to pop up? And me, when I searched as a buyer, I typed in 2012. So how did these people show up and why is it in parentheses at the back end of the title? Very simple. This listing has a compatibility chart. You'll notice down here, 2012 Chevrolet Sonic is right here in this compatibility chart. This is a searchable component. All right, so what this does is this allows the seller, because they have this fitment chart, this allows this seller to free up space in their title for other important keywords such as heated, both driver and left side, right? You have 80 characters in your title that you can work with. I highly encourage you to try to use them all whenever possible, because again, if the words that the buyer is putting in the search bar are not included in your title, you're not going to show up, with the exception of having this compatibility chart. Now back to this compatibility chart. If I go ahead and click on show all compatible vehicles, you'll see that they have 111 vehicles on here. There's no way we could include all of that information in the title, nor would we want to. There are going to be times where you're listing a part and it fits more than one type of make and model. But if you include multiple types of make and models in the title, you're going to confuse your buyer. Okay? So the best practice is if you have room to include a year, make, model, include one type of make, model, and include a year range. So this seller down here decided to put in a year range, and you'll see they didn't put in 2013, 14, 15, 16, or 17, but those years would still pop up because they have the compatibility chart. And again, without even clicking into this listing, I can tell they have a compatibility chart because it's in parentheses at the back end. eBay automatically put that in for me. So if I would have searched for a 2013 Chevrolet Sonic, this parentheses would include 2013. So very important to have those compatibility charts because they really provide a great deal more visibility within the listing. And there are a couple other little rules about titles where you don't have to necessarily include the information in the title in order to pop up if the buyer uses it. This here would be another example. They included the MPN, the manufacturer part number, in the title, which is a great practice if you have room. But there is another part within the listing to include that, and that would be the actual manufacturer part number section, which is also so right down here, manufacturer part number. They actually have it under other part number. Both of those are searchable components. So if this seller wanted to, they could go ahead and leave this part number out of the title and include it down here to free up space within the title, and they would still maintain their searchability if the buyer would have searched by part number. Good thing to keep in mind there, and those are things that we can go over during an account review if you are looking for best practices with titling. But basically, the very simple best practices for titling is, again, where the part is located on the vehicle, so driver and left side, front, rear, things like that. Interior, exterior. So for parts like that, interior door handle, you might want to put inner and interior, right? Exterior or outside, things like that, or outer, I should say. So where the part is located on the vehicle, the material that it is made out of. So interior parts, of course, they're going to search, leather, cloth, things like that. And color. Absolutely, definitely put color in. We just went through that example. And you do not want to be the 474 people or 479 people weeded out, right? And then if you ever have questions about best practices for keywords when you're just getting started, it can be a little overwhelming. Trust me, as you go on, it will just be second nature to you what type of keywords you should be including in your titling. It'll be very, very efficient for you as you get used to the process. But as you get started, feel free to search like a buyer, just like we did. And then if you're looking to see how other sellers have successfully listed their parts, and by successfully, I mean they've sold their part, and you're wondering what keywords they've used, use this eBay filter down here that says completed items. What this is going to do is is going to show you ended listings that are no longer available, and you'll note this one shows up in black, the price, this one in green. The green means that it was a successful sale. The seller sold it. So it can give you good advice on what keywords they used. And let's say you have some part types that are just not moving and you're wondering why. Go ahead and see what your peers are doing. And you might notice that you're leaving out a very important keyword. Start adding that in, and your listings just might start moving as well. It's also good for pricing advice and photo advice and things like that. All right. So then I'm going to jump on over to the e-link section. And this is where account reviews really come in handy as well. So I just told you some best practices when it comes to making your titles on eBay. Now, everybody inventories their parts a little differently, and where your eBay sales specialist comes in with Hollander is we will discuss with you your current process and how you inventory your parts, and see and find a customized way for you to customize your titles in a more efficient manner, right? Because obviously if we, just looking at this account, if I'm trying to list or 40,000 parts, going through each one individually is going to be quite a hassle, right? It's just not even, reasonable to think that I would be able to do that. So of course you want to pinpoint the items that you want to customize. And depending on how you inventory your parts, we can find ways to use e-link filters to make it super efficient for you. So please reach out to your eBay sales specialist at ebay@hollanderparts.com is our shared email, and we'll set up an account review. Account reviews are free, and we will go over and make a customized plan with you on how to customize your titles and where to start, and how to make it so you don't have to pull your hair out. All right. One thing I do want to know, e-link too, is that we recently made this process a lot easier for you. One, we allow now for the customization of titles straight from the main grid, whereas before you would have to click edit, expand out item details, change that, come down here, hit save and list, or save and revise, or what have you. Now you can actually just click into the title itself, right? So I could say black front bumper, down here I could change the title, whatever you want. And then as you hit enter and going through, you can change a bunch of titles all at once. Another thing we did to make this a lot easier, to make revisions a lot quicker, is we allow for multiple part type selection over here on the left. So you'll notice that my selections are being added over here. I could click apply. I don't have any of those listed, but if I did, I could go through and make adjustments to multiple part types at a time if I wish. You can even add keywords in bulk if you so choose. So again, that is something that I would recommend discussing with your eBay sales specialist, to find out what the best route is for you and your current process. So I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I hope you learned a few things. And again, reach out for an account review, and also to let us know if you have any suggestions for our webinars. We would love to have some suggestions for topics that you guys want us to cover. We're happy to do so. Again, our email address is ebay@hollanderparts.com. Thank you so much.